Welcome to Paradigm Shift Parenting, a podcast for women who make their lives better by first making themselves better. At Paradigm Shift Parenting, we believe that self-improvement is the highest form of self-care. Each episode, we're going to either shift our mindset about something, explore the myth that motherhood and martyrdom are synonymous, replace the oh-so-trendy victimhood mentality with a healthy dose of accountability and responsibility, or simply explore the shared experiences of modern motherhood. I'm your imperfect host, Binky Bell, and I'm glad you're here. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. I actually had a different episode planned for this week. We were going to talk about kids and food fights and like how to navigate the struggles at dinner time that so many of us have. However, we're switching things up and we are going to talk a little bit about Corona, the Corona crazies. Everybody's kind of going crazy right now. So what had happened was a few days ago, someone called me, a friend of mine, and this woman has like a degree in education and she has 7 kids. So she is a pro, but she called me and she's like, hey, our schools got canceled for 6 weeks. So I'm about to be stuck in the house with 7 kids for 6 weeks. And I'm a little bit panicked. I don't know what to do. I don't know how, should we follow a strict schedule? Do we focus on routine? What should I do? Can you help me? So I ended up talking with her for about an hour and we brainstormed ideas. I gave her my opinions, my insights as a mother who educates at home. We do virtual schooling now. We used to do homeschooling, but we've done it from the beginning. It's the only way of life that we've known. So I shared a lot of opinions with her and I figured that it might be good to just, kind of share that conversation a little bit and hopefully it'll help some of you. I definitely don't think it'll hurt. So here's what's going on. We have a bunch of families who are suddenly forced into home education a little bit. Some schools are shut for a couple weeks. Some are shut for, the most I've heard is 6 weeks. Which is kind of a long time. One thing that I keep hearing from some people, they're saying like, well, why is everybody panicked about this? It's really not any different than, say, summer vacation. Well, the difference is that during summer vacation, you get to go swimming, you get to go play at the parks, you get to have big play dates and be part of activities, group activities. The difference here with this is that it's sprung upon people, families who haven't had the time to mentally prepare for it, and we're kind of stuck inside. They don't want you going out and doing those things. There's no outdoor activities. A lot of us live in places where the weather hasn't really turned great yet. So we are just kind of stuck inside, right? So it's a big difference. It's a really big difference in how much you're mentally prepared for this. And while a lot of us homeschoolers are kind of starting to be a little bit smug, like some of us are kind of like, oh, like you finally get to see what it is we do all day, right? Let's try to dial that down a little bit because what these families need are insight and support, right? So let's try to, I know it's a good time to be high and mighty about being home educators, but we can dial it back and we can offer support and kindness because that's what everybody needs right now, right? Whenever I was talking to my friend, the first thing she asked, she was like, what do you do like all day? Like, do you have a strict schedule that you follow? And something that I told her, which I think everybody should focus on, is focus on the feeling first. Sit down and figure out the feeling. How do you want your day to feel? How do you want your home to feel for the next 2, 4, 6 weeks, right? And do everything from a place of trying to maintain that feeling, because right now a lot of people are really panicked about their kids' grades and how the schooling's going to go, and if their kids are just going to forget everything that they've been learning this semester. Personally, I think that if a few weeks out of school is going to make them completely forget everything, then they weren't really learning it to begin with. Okay, so it's okay. Don't focus so much on the grades. Don't focus on the schoolwork. I know it's really hard. I know a lot of people are just kind of People are telling me that they closed the schools and the schools are kind of like, well, figure it out. Like, we don't have a lot of resources for you right now. So focus on the feeling. How do you want your home to feel? And do everything from a place of maintaining or encouraging that feeling, a feeling of harmony, flow, things like that. Those are really good words to focus on and hold on to. That being said, that's all good and well, but you probably still will need a routine, or if you have multiple children, they are all going to go crazy and attack each other, because for some reason kids who aren't used to spending every single second of the day together, they can get really stir crazy and they start fighting and bickering. You know the deal. What I encouraged my friend to do, and what I encourage everybody to do, is as we're moving forward, have a family meeting. And you're probably going to have a couple. Have a family meeting, sit everybody down and say, listen, here's the deal, and level with them. Talk to your kids in a way that they can understand, be serious with them, and say, listen, we're going to be stuck together for a while. And from there, create some kind of system. I always encourage like a safety word, because like I said, you guys are going to be stuck together in the house. People are going to get in each other's spaces. Personal bubbles are going to be transgressed, right? So I think it's a good idea to create some kind of safety word where if you say pickles, then that's the cue that everybody stops and you get to go and be alone. No more conversation. Everybody stops. Full stop. Everybody kind of gets to just hunker down until you can regroup, right? It's a quick way to stop a fight from escalating. That's something that we use all the time, just in general. Whenever people are intentionally instigating fights and problems, then we use certain code words to just kind of say, okay, that's enough. And it stops. It's a full stop. Now, as far as routines or schedules or whatever, focus first on the feeling, and then from there, try to just be aware of the natural rhythms that your family will have in the first few days and follow that as much as you can. You really, because you're doing everything at home now, you don't have a lot of really strict schedules that you have to follow. For us personally, it works best for our day to have school started. They do independent reading by 8 o'clock. And it's during that time when they're reading independently, I got sister in the high chair, she's eating, and I'm cooking breakfast. Whenever they're done with their independent reading is about the same time I finish breakfast. Laptops are shut. We get to eat. We get to clean ourselves up. While I'm cleaning up the kitchen, they're going upstairs to brush their teeth, get ready, change their clothes, pick up their floor, whatever it is that they need to do. And then we come back down, meet in the kitchen, and then we go about our school day. There's no hard and fast timelines for that. If we are slow moving and we don't start until 8:30 one day, that's okay. If we're up really early and we start our routine at 7, that's also okay. Another really important thing is to break up your day. And the best way to do that is to break up the day by doing what we call resets. We have to reset the living room. We've been working in the living room and the kitchen for a couple hours or an hour on school. Things are going to get messy. I'm not picking up after myself. They're not picking up after themselves. So we take a break. That gives you a chance to get your kids' bodies moving so they can get some of the energy out. And you're picking up the house as you go so that at the end of the day, you're not stuck cleaning for 4 hours to reset the entire house, right? Now, the most important thing that I would want to stress to everybody who's suddenly forced to do school at home right now is that you are not recreating school at home. You don't have to. You don't have to bring the classroom into your home. Don't recreate public school at home. You will fail. You will be frustrated. Your kids will be frustrated. It will be a constant fight every day. While you're at home with maybe 2 to 4 kids, typically, your own kids, you're going to be able to teach the subject matter, whatever you're doing. You're going to be able to do that in a significantly shorter amount of time as opposed to a teacher who has 20 to 30 kids that she's interacting with, right? So I just don't want parents thinking that they have to fill 6 hours of their day with education. Because the fact of the matter is, life is education. Let them live, bring them, invite them into your world, what it is to maintain a home, meal plan, cook, clean up, bring them into your world, and that's all education. It's all education. They're going to learn. All right. They might not learn the arbitrary kind of ridiculous things that the public education system wants your children to learn. Sorry, I don't want to get flack for that, but it's true. Sorry. But they're still going to be learning, and that's really, really important. And again, the most important thing is the feeling of the home. We really need to shift our mindset and remind ourselves that we live in a culture that is terribly busy, terribly disconnected, and although the circumstances are less than great, this is a blessing. This is an opportunity to get to know your children as individuals, not as your children. You get to know them, you get the time and the space to learn who they are as people, and that's something that not a lot of families get. So this can be a really, really good thing. Okay, something else that I recommended to this friend that I was talking to was games. Board games. Board games are fantastic, and I bet they aren't sold out on Amazon right now, so you could probably get them really cheap, really quickly. Board games are great because it really helps learning readers, because they want to read the questions, they want to read the steps. There's a lot of reading involved in a lot of board games, and it's really, really good for them. Not only that, there's a lot of conversations that take place during the course of a board game. So it's a really good learning exercise just to work on your relationship with your children. We play a game that my kids actually made up. We play it probably a few times a week, and it's called Who Knows Me Best. And if I was the person asking the question, I would ask them, okay, what do I like more, hot dogs or burgers? Or what did I want to be whenever I was a kid? What did I want to be whenever I grew up? And the fun part is everybody gets note cards or dry erase boards, and they get to draw their answer if they want to draw it, or they can write it, which is practicing spelling, practicing reading, practicing art skills. Like, it's really good, and it's really, really fun. Not saying like it's fun just for kids, like I actually really enjoy it. I have so much fun whenever we play it together. Now, something else that I recommended to her, which is something that I want to work on actually myself, is creating a family mission statement. I love the idea of a family mission statement. It can be whatever you want, but ideally you want to include things like what your morals are as a family, what your values are, how you want your family to feel and cooperate together, things like that. I think family mission statements are really, really great because it kind of gives you this hub of morals and values, ideas that your family operates from. I think it's really nice, and like I said, now would be a really good time to work on that since we're all going to be cooped up together, right? It wouldn't hurt. So this episode's going to be pretty short. These are just some ideas that I had that I shared with her off the top of my head. Obviously, we want to also have kind of a starting point for the actual education aspect of it. I will include in the description box below on YouTube or in the show notes for the podcast a Google document that's being passed around that has a running list of free resources for people who are suddenly needing to home educate, right? It's a really great resource. There are a lot of companies who are opening their doors to free subscriptions during the next 3 months or so. So that's really nice. And we'll keep that running list. Also on my Instagram, as I see them, as people are sharing them with me, I'm also sharing free, cheap resources for home education. There's lots of places that do free virtual tours of museums, stuff like that. Google Earth is really cool to check out. So we'll keep compiling these resources. I'll keep adjusting the show notes and the lists as I need to, and I'm going to be sharing them on my Instagram, so you'll want to make sure, as always, that you're following me on there so we can kind of work together. Also, very importantly, if you're someone who homeschools, if you're a home educating family, virtual schooling family, let's make ourselves, our insight, our knowledge, let's make that available to these families that are suddenly finding themselves in similar situations. I think it's really, personally, I think it's unfortunate that we have created a culture of a family dynamic that isn't used to spending so much time together. So now it really is like it's panic inducing for a lot of families because they know that on long weekends, on spring break, winter break, they start fighting with each other. It doesn't feel good. And I know that it's really easy to get smug about that and talk about how unfortunate it is and how it's, a sign of how messed up our culture is or whatever, but that doesn't really help anybody. So let's make our peaceful parenting practices and opinions, let's really start flooding social media with those. Get that information to people who maybe just aren't used to this dynamic. They aren't used to being around their kids so much. You can have whatever opinion you want about that, but let's still try to offer our services, our insights, our opinions to these families as much as we can, and try to make it a good experience for everybody. I just really worry about, the impact on these children who are maybe don't have the best relationship with their parents and now suddenly they're stuck at home with them. It can get really nasty really quickly. So let's flood social media with a bunch of peaceful parenting tactics and stuff. I think that could be really helpful. I don't know. If I missed anything, let me know. Ask me questions. If you're looking for specific resources, I can ask the community on Instagram, and we can really work together to make sure that everybody has a good experience of this. Because, like I said, I think it's a blessing. I think it's what we need. We need to slow down. We need to spend time together and really hold on to a back to basics mentality. We're getting back to basics. We're falling back on the family. We're falling back on the community. And I think that's a good thing, given the circumstances, right? Okay, stay safe, stay healthy, come by my Instagram, let me know what you think. Please share the episode with anybody who you think could benefit from it, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be alerted when new episodes come out.